I find Russia to be a fascinating place. I've always found it to be a complicated, fascinating place, and I can't figure out how worried about Russia I should be as an American today. Everybody knows about China. They got an economy as big as ours, very aggressive, putting a bunch of attack subs in the water, so on and so forth. What is Russia now? Are they some old bully who's just rickety? Are they on the up? What are they doing?
Well, they're definitely not on the up. They're not quite rickety, though, and they still have as many nukes as anybody would ever want to have. So on the legitimate threat scale, they have the potential to be an extremely dangerous threat. Are they? Not as much as the left and the media want us to believe. And part of the problem is they are so deeply invested in the entire Trump-Russia, Putin's puppet smear that they started, back during the transition, that they can't get off it. So they keep finding new and less innovative ways to pretend that Russia is the problem and that Trump is in, Putin's pocket. And all of a sudden, at some point, we're all going to be drinking vodka and dying at the age of 40.
Jim, what kind of threat is Russia to Eastern Europe? Obviously, we all know there's just a bit of history there, and it hasn't been good. Do they still have their eyes set on that, or is that just we all stuck in our old ways? We all think it's the 1950s again.
Well, it's the 1950s, the 1850s, the 1750s. They got a pretty long history of empire building over there. So I don't think they ever take their eyes off of Eastern Europe. I don't think they ever take their eyes off Western Europe. They'd love nothing more, than to actually have some sort of control over all of Europe. But they just don't have the juice to do it. The only thing they really have right now is energy. And, Europe would like it. They've got the Nord Stream pipeline is supposed to be coming online and sending Russian gas to Germany and Europe. And the problem with that has always been that's one of the few ways that Putin can actually gain some control. But right now, that's all he's got. He's not going to roll tanks. There's no actual empire building he can do in the short term. So the idea that he's any kind of a threat in a real way to Eastern Europe, or especially to Western Europe, is kind of a joke.
What's the Russia-China relationship? I think in the minds of many Americans, and I've been guilty of this more times than I can count, we just kind of, because of the commie history of both of them, we lump them both together. We think they're always kind of joined. I'm sure they're pals. I'm sure President Xi and Putin still have a steak dinner together every single night. But is that the case?
You know what's really sad, Jesse, is the fact that you lump them together as commies probably escapes everybody younger than you and me, because they just didn't get taught about the Soviet Union and the fact that they were the totalitarians who ran the planet aside from us. It was a fair fight between us and the Soviet Union back in the day. Well, we won, because capitalism trumps communism. And now Trump trumps Chinese communism. So in the end, I don't think the Russia-China axis is something that the United States has to worry about. Because first of all, Russia is not the Soviet Union. They don't have the power they used to. And the Chinese, much as they love to flex, they're still a lot of a paper dragon. There's a big front they push, and they've done a lot. They are a danger to a lot of people, but they're not the danger that people want to believe. And the nice thing for us is those two distrust each other way too much to ever team up against us.
Hey, thanks so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me. Like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me.